Hi there, it's Heather, and right now I'm in Mallorca, Spain. I'm actually on a cruise, and have you ever wondered what it's like to sail the Mediterranean? It sounds pretty fancy, right? It's what we all dream of doing one day for vacation. Well, I'm doing it this time with Virgin Voyages, and I want to take you along on the ride. I'm doing their 7-night French Daze and Ibiza nights itinerary, and I like this one because it's going to some ports that I haven't been to before in Europe. So we are going to check out Marseille, go into Provence, we're going to check out Cannes, obviously Mallorca, we're going to do Ibiza, and what I'm really excited about and why I wanted to do this with Virgin is that they stay overnight in some ports, so you can really get out into the port, do some nightlife, right? If you're going to Ibiza, it's all about the club. So come with me and let's see what the experience is like. Our first stop was in the port of Marseille, the south of France, and this is easily the stop I am most excited about on this itinerary. I just love France so much, and there was so much that I wanted to see and do in the area because Marseille is, of course, the gateway to Provence. Normally, when I am taking a cruise, I like to get out and explore on my own and kind of get the local flavor of a destination, but because there was so much I wanted to see and do and it required a lot of driving, I wound up taking a tour through Virgin, and it's not only touring Marseille but also Aix-en-Provence, which is the capital of Provence, and it's a little mini city. And so we're spending the morning in Aix and then we'll go on to Marseille, and we did a walking tour, then we went to a market, had some bread and cheese and chatted with the locals. And Aix is just the most beautiful little cobbled city with modern stores but so much history. It's just beautiful. Our second stop on the tour was Marseille, which is where your cruise ship docks, but they'll take you to the old town, which is kind of where everything happens. But before we came to the old town, we went to their Basilica de la Guerre, which is high up on top of a mountain. You have to almost like hike up 200 stairs to get there, and the view is gorgeous. But then we got to come back down into town by their old port and kind of just take in the sights, right? There's a beautiful harbor with tons of boats, private boats, the ferries that take people across, millions of cafes. Cafe life is alive and well in Marseille, which is nice because you can sit, have a cocktail, have some lunch, nice breeze in the shade. I also went and got myself some Marseille soap. They are super famous for it. It's probably the best soap in the world. It's made with like 72% olive oil, and it's so good for your skin. This is why French women have beautiful skin. But Marseille is very different than Provence. It is not a charming little city. It is a massive city. It's the second largest in France, so it's busy and it's loud and there's a lot going on, but that's great because that's what makes it special. I think the tour was fun. Our guide was fantastic, but it was just a tour, right? They're telling you a lot of information, but they're not taking you into the sites that you're learning about, and so you don't get to see very much. And even though you do get free time to wander on your own, it's only about an hour, so you're not going to be able to see and do much. So maybe make a list ahead of time of what you would like to see in both Aix and Marseille. This way, when you are on your own, you can hit the ground running and make sure you get it in. Today we're in Cannes, and before I go explore that city, because I have been there before, I needed to get out into the country and do some wine tasting. This is part of the Côte de Provence, which means they make the best rosé in the world. You've probably seen it in your supermarket back home. Here we're going to the source. There's not going to be any chemicals in it. It's going to be cheaper because we don't have to pay to ship it. My gosh, it was delicious. We are at Chateau Saint-Martin, and it's a beautiful little chateau. It's owned by 17 generations of women, countesses, no less. So we got a tour of their beautiful property, and then we were invited inside to do a tasting of 6 of their wines, 2 rosés, 2 whites, 2 reds. Of course, the rosés were the best, and they also treated us to a beautiful little French afternoon lunch with meats and cheeses and baguettes. It was delightful. Definitely come if you're in the area. Cannes is beautiful, but it's great to get out into the country. It was only an hour drive, but now I am going to get back on the road, and I am going to head into Cannes and maybe, you know, see all the famous sights. We're gonna go check out the Opera House and do what it is that you do when you're in Cannes. But it is August and it is very hot. I know I'm like a broken record, so I will probably not spend as much time there that I did in the country. I couldn't dock in Cannes and not visit the town, because even though I've been here before, no matter how many times you come, it's still just, it's beautiful and it's charming and it's fancy. And if you've never been, you should take a moment to walk into the town, even if you have a tour booked. So your ship is gonna dock on the other side of the harbor, and it's a quick 10-minute walk into town, if that. The La Croisette is the main road here where all of the fancy designer shops are and all of the cafes, and it's a beautiful place to sit and have lunch and watch the ocean. But just beyond that is the Rue d'Antibes, and that is where there are also a ton of shops, but shops that you can afford. So you might want to take some time to walk in there. There's also the Old Town, which is full of just the old, cute little French buildings that might be worth the time to just stroll through. But you could spend an entire day here. You could spend just an hour here looking around. But of course, you're gonna go to the Palais des Festivals, which is where the famous film festival is held. And that happens at the end of May, but no matter what time of year you're here, they leave the red carpet up so you can walk up there and pretend that you're a famous movie star and take pictures to show all of your friends to make them jealous. So in Mallorca, I actually booked a shore excursion through Virgin Voyages, and the reason I did that is because they had one that looked really cool. It's called From the Bike to the Beach, and basically we are biking through the old town of Mallorca, spending an hour or two here at the beach so you can chill in the Mediterranean, which is great because, again, humidity, but it was really nice. Our tour guide stopped at a few points along the way through the city and showed us the famous sights of the city. Then we get to come and relax here on the beach, and I don't have to worry about navigating the city streets on my own. Plus, I like biking. I think it's fun, and it's a way to be a little more active after I went to the buffet last night. Our last stop on this itinerary is Ibiza. You know, it's known as the party isle, but there's a lot more to it than that. I was really excited to come, and Virgin is cool. They got us in the night before, so instead of a full day here, we basically have a day and a half. Because it's known for its nightlife, they want to make sure you experience that. So they had a cool shore excursion where you do a walking tour of the old town, and then you go to a really cool rooftop bar and have some tapas and sangria. So I booked that last night, and it was beautiful. We got to watch the sunset over the ocean and see this gorgeous city of Ibiza. I almost need to come back and see more because it's not just about the parties. Don't worry, they have those, but there's a lot of culture here too. Things don't get started until late, so if you're an early bird like me, it's not easy to do, but figure dinner here is gonna be not starting until 9 or 10 p.m. If you do wanna go out to the clubs, you're looking at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. start times. You're gonna be out until 6 a.m. So just keep that in mind, but you don't have to do the party scene. You can just chill and relax too. I'm spending my morning at one of the famous Ibiza beach clubs because I feel like it's something you have to do while you're here. They are very pricey, very pricey. They start at $200 per person and go up from there, especially during the high season and on the weekends. But I feel like it's so much nicer than throwing a towel on the sand. Now, I chose to book mine through a shore excursion with Virgin, but you can easily do this on your own. I simply booked with them for ease of transportation, and it was roughly the same price. But there is a different beach club for every type of person. So if you want one for families, if you want a chill, relaxed vibe, if you want a party scene, see and be seen, they have that for you. Nikki Beach Club is kind of the best one. I'm at Nassau because it's a little bit quieter and calmer. Just know that if you are gonna do this on your own, book months and months and months in advance. They fill up. I'm watching people get turned away left and right, and you also get to pick what type of seating you want. I have a beach bed, they have a gorgeous restaurant and shop, there's bathroom facilities, so is it worth the cost? I don't know, that's up to you, but for me, I like comfort when I'm at the beach, so it was definitely worth the price. And plus, when else are you gonna be in Ibiza? Come, check it out. Try the kava, they make their, or try the sangria, they make it with kava, which is something I've never had, and it's delicious. So, cheers. So, what is it like to sail the Mediterranean? I know it sounds fancy, but is it? Is it a good fit for you? Because it might not be a great fit for everyone. I think that there are a ton of pros to cruising through the Mediterranean versus going around on your own. For example, you only have to unpack once. You don't have to constantly pack and unpack and move hotels. Your hotel takes you to where you want to be. I think that it is a great way to move around easily. So if you are nervous about traveling to a foreign country and you don't speak the language, you don't know how you're going to get around, this eliminates that stress. You are just being brought there. And it's also a really fantastic way to see multiple countries or cities in one vacation. So you can see maybe 5 or 6 ports in Italy, or in the case of this particular cruise, I'm seeing 2 cities in France and 3 in Spain. That's harder to do without a cruise or when you're going around on your own. But on the flip side, you can't really get in depth into those destinations. You get maybe 8 hours if you're lucky in a port, so you're really only getting an overview. So for example, if you're doing a cruise through Italy, how much are you gonna see of Rome in just 8 hours versus spending 3 or 4 days there on your own? So for me personally, I actually like to go around these countries on my own and spend 3, 4, 5 days in each city, so I really get the flavor of a destination. But a cruise is a great overview. It gives you a little sampler, a little taste of each destination, so you can decide, I don't really care about this, I don't need to come back, or oh my gosh, I thought this city was fantastic and I cannot wait to plan my next vacation here. So just depending on you, how you like to vacation, will really determine whether or not this is the best fit. So that's it. That ends my time with the French Daze and Ibiza nights itinerary. And I loved it. It was so nice to sail the Mediterranean, if a little bit hot. I know that my favorite place that I visited was Aix-en-Provence, which means I need to go back there and spend some more time. But it was so nice to be able to see 2 different countries, a bunch of different ports, get a feel for the 2 destinations, and then decide where I may or may not want to go back to. Plus, the ship was a ton of fun. And if you have any questions about the itinerary, about the ship, pop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer. And if I've inspired you to come try this itinerary or any of the itineraries in the Mediterranean, send me a message. I'd be happy to get you some pricing, help you out, and kind of guide you along your way. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Heather, and I will see you next time. Bye.